I'm gon' ride, we gon' ride, who gon' slide, we gon' slide, they my guys, they my slimes.
Clip up the ride out.
I'm gon' ride, we gon' ride, who gon' slide, we gon' slide, they my guys, they my slimes.
All out when we ride out.
The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros is the WBA is in danger of losing its status as a recognized title. And it started with I shouldn't say started with. It all started to come to the light after a fight in which there was a serious robbery, and that's Gabriel Morhese. Again, apologize if there's a mispronunciation, against Fox. And that fight basically was one in which majority of the people who saw it called it a robbery. Now, what makes me laugh is close fights are being called robberies now. When an actual robbery takes place, though, I don't really hear people talking about it. But this is a fight that was an obvious, blatant robbery to the point where instantly the announcers were upset. People took to social media, boxing experts took to social media, and even sanctioning bodies and everyone had to react to it. So we're going to give you a clip of the video, and we're going to fill you in on everything before we dive into this topic. So take a look at the announcement of the robbery.
World welterweight title holder and still undefeated Gabriel El Capitan Maestre.
How is that possible? Now, I try not to get upset by these things, but how is that even? Joe Goose, I'm stunned. It was 114, 113, and I thought that has to be in favor of Fox. How could it even be that close?
All right, so there you heard the reaction after Maestre was announced the winner of the fight. Everyone was in shock and saying they can't believe that Maestre got the decision. But here's another thing you have to question, right? Gabriel Maestre, and I'm going to go to his box rec so I can show you. It was his fourth professional fight. And in his fourth professional fight, he was fighting Mikel Fox for the World Boxing Association interim welterweight title. So how is this guy fighting him in his fourth fight? Right now, you can see he does have some decent wins on his resume. Diego Gabriel Chavez is a decent win, and Daniel Vega Cata. But still, how does he get that interim title shot in his fourth professional fight? And then you look at the scoring, and you see there. That's what. I'm sorry. Did someone you say anything?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so now we're going to move on to the article, which explains this in greater detail. All right, so let's move on to this article. And as you can see, this article is from Yahoo Sports, and it's by Kevin Oley, and it states, boxing commissions holding WBA's feet to the fire with scathing letter threatening to not sanction belts. All right, so, and this article is written on the 11th of August, and it states the head of the Association of Boxing Commissions sent a letter to Gilberto Mendoza, president of the World Boxing Association, expressing concern over the way the WBA has conducted business recently. The most recent controversy erupted over the scoring in a fight for an interim title Saturday in Minneapolis between Gabriel Maestre and Mikel Fox. Maestre won a hotly contested, ununanimous decision in a bout for the WBA interim welterweight title. After the verdict was announced, it was learned that one of the judges had sent out racist tweets. Gloria Martinez Rizzo, who was recommended by the WBA, Gloria Martinez Rizzo, who was recommended by the WBA, had referred to former First Lady Michelle Obama as monkey face, among other vile tweets. Fox is black. So the fighter Fox, who didn't get the decision, is black. So they're just pointing that out. After speaking to ABC president Mike Mazzoli, Mendoza told Yahoo Sports the WBA will issue a resolution condemning Rizzo's racist comments. The WBA will issue a resolution condemning Rizzo's comments, but they didn't say they were going to fire Rizzo or anything like that. He also said that he ordered a rematch between Maestre and Fox and agreed that the bout would happen, that the bout happened to be a draw, the title would be vacant. Judge John Moreno, who scored the fight 115-112 for Maestre, sent a text message to the WBA supervisor after controversy erupted around the fight. He wrote, "My recent fight assignment was a difficult fight to judge with close rounds. I saw Fox running more, landing the lighter punches while Maestre was moving forward, cutting off the ring and landing the harder punches. It should be noted that Fox dropped Maestre in that fight and not the other way around." Rizzo has yet to make a public comment. She has been ill, and Mendoza said he planned to talk to her soon. All right, so the WBA has also been criticized for creating a slew of championships, including super champion, regular champion, interim champion, and gold champion. In the letter to Mendoza from the ABC, Mazzoli asked Mendoza to explain the proliferation of WBA titles, writing, "It is misleading to the public and the boxers." Mazzoli also asked Mendoza to make more conscientious to be more conscientious in his recommendation of officials. Mazzoli also noted that there is an allegation that Marcelino Castro worked Maestre's corner, and that Castro is closely affiliated with or employed by the WBA. If this is true, it would be a violation of the U.S. law, Mazzoli wrote. Mendoza told Yahoo Sports on Wednesday that Costello has never been employed by the WBA. Mendoza said that Costello has contributed news items and photos to the WBA website. So the issue here is they're alleging that someone who was working the corner for Maestre actually works for the WBA, and the WBA who's sanctioning the fight and recommending judges. And Mendoza, the president, says, well, no, this person doesn't work for the WBA. And here's what he says. Mendoza told Yahoo Sports on Wednesday that Costello has never been employed by the WBA. Mendoza said that Costello has contributed news items and photographs to the WBA's website. So he doesn't work for the WBA, but he has contributed things to the WBA's website, and he's working the guy's corner who's fighting for the WBA title in his fourth fight. Veteran trainer / cutman Rudy Hernandez worked Maestre's corner Saturday as a cutman. He told Yahoo Sports that Costello did not work the corner and said he did not see Costello near Maestre's corner. He said the only ones in the corner were himself and trainer Jorge Zarepa and Mike Rodriguez. All right. Mazzoli wrote that if the WBA failed to take satisfactory actions, the ABC's board of directors would recommend to its membership not to honor the WBA belt as sanctioned within the U.S., not to accept WBA official recommendations, and not to allow WBA supervisor in the controlled area around the ring. If it got to the step of the ABC recommending not sanctioning the WBA, it would essentially put the body out of business. It makes the bulk of its money from sanctioning fees it collects from boxers fighting for its titles, which typically is 3%. Given the vast majority of the larger shows are in the U.S., it would cripple, not financially ruin the WBA if it were permitted to sanction shows, and if it were not permitted to sanction shows in the U.S. And here's a quote: "I don't think it's going to get to that point," Mazzoli told Yahoo Sports. Mr. Mendoza has stated publicly that he is going to reduce the number of belts, and what we're doing now is basically holding his feet to the fire. Prior to publishing a story on the WBA on Monday, Yahoo Sports has spoken with more than 6 people in professional boxing who all said that Mendoza manages many fighters from Venezuela. I'll say that again. Prior to publishing a story on the WBA on Monday, Yahoo Sports has spoken with more than 6 people in professional boxing who said that Mendoza manages more than 6 fighters from Venezuela, including Maestre, the man who was involved in this fight. That information was not included in the Yahoo Sports story published on August 9th because it could not be verified. But on Wednesday, Mendoza denied having any financial stake in any fighters. And here's the quote from Mendoza. If you're going to say I manage Maestre, you have to talk about Jorge Linares and Marcos Medina and a lot of other kids as well, Mendoza said. I have helped them and their families with money out of my pocket, out of my own pocket, but I have never taken a cent from any of them, ever. I know that's out there. Top ranked chairman Bob Arum said that I have more fighters than he does. That's funny, and I got a kick out of it, but it's just not true. I haven't denied helping them and their families, and if they want to box, I admit that I've pointed them in the right direction. But I have nothing to do with judging and whoever wins, and I haven't taken a cent from them. Mendoza said that the WBA plans to streamline the number of titles it offers and go into effect September. And he shared an early draft of the plan with Yahoo Sports. It would effectively end the gold and interim titles and put restrictions on who could fight for Super Championship. So I know that was long, but there was a lot of important information in the article. Oh, and lastly, I do. Well, actually, we don't need to show it. I was going to show Fox's reaction to the robbery, but we can just dive right into it. I'll turn it over to you, Conspiracy G, man. What's your reaction to the article and all the things listed in that article?
All right. I agree 1,000% with ABC on this one. And to be honest with you, I don't want to sound too extreme, but I say, yo, we should all just not even recognize the WBA, throw it in the trash. This whole article has explained everything wrong with that governing body. Last week when we talked about all their belts, the super, the regular, the gold, the interim, and all that stuff, like the champion and reset, they had so many belts. We just like, yo, what's going on here, right? So clearly their main objective is to maximize profit, right? That's an issue within itself, because if your organization is doing that, then corruption is soon to come. And as we can see what happened to Fox, their response I had issues with. So the first one was, oh, all right, yeah, Judge Rizzo, comments, yeah, that wasn't right. We're going to publicly condemn her comments, as opposed to saying, hey, you know what? We're going to ban her from ever being a judge ever again in our fights. That was one thing. Another one was, oh, we're just going to order a rematch. That's another BS response. They should reverse the decision, right? Why should Fox take an L when he got robbed? Makes no sense. So that what tells me is the WBA, they're like, all right, let's just do enough to calm y'all down, as opposed to, hey, let's do the right thing. And so to me, I say all fighters, especially the black ones, do not support the WBA because they don't support you. You know what I mean? And so force them to do right by us. You're paying money, you know, you're literally paying sanctioning fees to support this organization so you can be recognized as a champion and this, that, and the third. But if they're going to look at you like, hey, you're second to Venezuelan fighters or, you know, Latin fighters, that's not right, you know? And so I'm hoping either the and I will say this, salute to them for saying effective September, they're going to get rid of interim and the gold champions, right? And they're going to put more restrictions on who could be a super champion, which they already have a description that makes sense to me. It's just they don't abide by their own rules, right? But, man, nonetheless, man, I still say, man, throw all the WBA belts in the trash, you know, and force them to really take this serious. And to the judge, what's her name, Gloria Rizzo.
Martinez Rizzo.
She needs to be banned from judging any future fight, you know. And then I even try to play devil's advocate, right? Okay, you know what? Maybe her comments about, Michelle Obama. Maybe because sometimes when people from other countries, they may not look at things the way we do in the U.S. But she had several comments that was problematic. So I was like, she knows exactly what she's doing. Homegirl racist, and I'm like, let's just get rid of her, like there's no, we're gonna condemn her comments, but still allow her to judge our fights. Once you said that, that tells me, all right, this governing body, these belts are worthless. Like, just throw them in the trash. We need to make principled decisions in this sport, and that's how we're gonna get the sport better. And so, salute to ABC for holding the WBA to the fire.
All right, Dollar Bill, the commish.
WBA. We be assholes. I'll take my disclaimer now.
Nah, you ain't getting one. Go ahead, brother.
I'm just disgusted. I'm disgusted. You hit the nail on the head. You summed up a lot for me right there. I'm just disgusted. I just think do away with all of them. Do away with all of them. The only one that matters is the WBB, the World Boxing Bros, the World Bros Belt. That's what you said, bro. That's what we're gonna call it.
World Bros Belt.
WBB.
We're getting rid of the WBA to add the WBB.
It's only right, because we're going to be fair, right down the middle. There's only going to be one belt for every division. We're not going to play these games. We're not race baiting. We're not doing it. If you're good, you're good. That's it. We just love the sport of boxing. It's that simple. Be fair. Just be fair. That's all we ask is to be fair. It's just, people just suck. Like, just being a good person is not in no more. Just being a decent person isn't in no more. How about just be civil? I don't know. That's all I have to say about it. I don't even care about this. The WBB coming soon.
All right. WBB. All right. Ned the TBE.
Man, the WBA. Well, first that the making the wrong call on that fight, and I didn't even see the fight. So for the announcers to show express the disgust like that, it's crazy. And like it has to be handled right. Like they have to take whoever WBA. This looks really bad on y'all, and it has to be taken care of ASAP. Like give that man his win. Give that fighter fighter y'all rob his win. Because that's wrong. That's just unacceptable in the first. That should never happen. And there's too many belts. I was just looking at it. There's so many belts. You guys have so many belts for every division, and it's nonsense. Like every belt you create, how do you have a world champion and a super champion? Like it makes it like for me, world champion is like you're the best in the world. So what is a super champion? Like come on, we need like every belt you make discredits the next belt. Like it's
you're the
like
best in the galaxy.
Yeah, come on, like world space champion, like come on, like cut it out, WA. Like let's bring it back. And when you eliminate these belts, now we create more competition. Now these fighters know they can't just get this interim belt and think they're the baddest out. Like come on, let's put our fighters to the test, and let's actually make boxing great again. With all these belts, it hurts the sport.
He really said let's make boxing great again. What is that? That's magma.
I'm walking with you, Ned.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah, but for me, if they eliminate belts, that'll be great. If they lose their title status, hey, that'd even be even better.
Yo, there's so much to unpack. Like, first of all, it's great to know about. Let me just get the name right. Make sure I got the name right. It's so great to know about the Association of Boxing Commissions because it's like the Association of Boxing Commissions actually has the authority to remove them as being recognized. So that tells me we've been having all these issues with these belts. What we need to do is we need to start bringing our issues to the Association of Boxing Commissions because they're the ones with the authority to rectify all this, right? And so that's the beauty of what comes out of this. So ABC, the Association of Boxing Commissions, comes out, and then and you see how when they come out, the WBA is they want to do things. That's how you know who's running things. Mm-hmm. Quickly, one recommendation I'm going to make to the Association of Boxing Commissions is I do think that you should remove the WBA because we'll talk about this. For starters, it's rumored that the WBA has fighters that they're managing out of Venezuela. It's rumored, but I would say this: it's very suspect as to why this man only had 4 fights and he was fighting for the interim title. One of the belts you already acknowledge is a BS belt, is a phony belt that shouldn't exist. One of the belts they're going to get rid of. And think about this: if they intend on getting rid of the interim belt in September, why they had this dude fighting for that belt in the first place? It's August.
Put that fire to that ass. You know what I mean?
It's August, right? So if they really intend on getting rid of that belt in September, why they make this man fight for that belt? I believe that fight was in July, but still, why make him fight for in July for a belt you're going to get rid of in September? If that was your real intent. So that's one. 2, he's saying he doesn't manage fighters out of Venezuela. And his argument to show that he doesn't manage fighters out of Venezuela is ask Jorge Linares, ask Marcos Maidana. I gave them money, and sure, I may have guided them in the right direction, but I never asked for anything back.
Right.
My dude. So then you've done a number of things wrong. One, you got caught, and then you started naming other people. You was naming Jorge Linares, you naming Marcos Maidana, and sure I might have guided them in the right direction. So what does that mean? Also notice the fighters he named, none of them were black. None of them were white. They all fit a certain bill. They're all Latino.
Yeah. Now, and even to add to your point, to make it even stick even harder, the fight wasn't in July. The fight was just last week.
Oh, see, there you go, August. I said August, yeah. So there you go. You're gonna get rid of the intern belt in September, but you're making your guy.
He never was going to do it.
You don't really
remember. Hold on, just to add. Remember last week we quoted the WBA president who was like, I don't even want to do this.
I don't agree.
Yeah. He wasn't going to do it, bro. Making that add to your point.
Exactly. So there you have it. Mm-hmm. Sure, look it up. Last week this fight took place for a belt that he's gonna get rid of next month. All right, but again, so there you see the credibility issues with this guy. But he's saying he doesn't manage these fighters, right? So you gotta look at it like this. This is real spit, and this is why it's a dirty game. It's rumored that he manages this guy, Mahistre. It's rumored that he manages Mahistre, right? And Mahistre gets a shot at the interim title in his 4th professional fight against Markel Fox. And Mendoza recommends a referee who's racist against black people to referee the fight because he knows she's not gonna like Fox.
Corruption.
Right? So he's known for helping the Latino fighters. He gets this guy a shot. He brings him in to fight Fox, a black man, and he recommends a referee who openly hates black people. And you see the reaction once the scorecards are read from a white man. Brian Kenny is flabbergasted, and Brian Kenny's right. Of all the things you see from Brian Kenny, he never gets upset about decisions. Even bigger fights than that, he's like, yo, normally I don't even say nothing about this. But damn. What's the other guy? The other Latino guy, Marcus Vega or something like that. He's a Latino man. And even he was like, what were they watching? See, this ain't about race. This is about people who lack the ability to be impartial because that's all they see. Doesn't mean everybody's that way. But he knew that that woman was that way, and he recommended her to be a judge because it was in the best interest of his fighter that he manages. I mean, that he claims he doesn't manage. Right? Bob Arum's on the record as saying this guy manages more fighters than Top Rank. Right? So if you're a promoter / president of a belt, a sanctioning body, it would benefit you to have all these belts so you can give them to all your fighters. Mm-hmm. And you're making your fighters fight for these titles in their fourth fight, their fifth fight, or whatever, and you blatantly rob someone. Here's the other thing. Look at the other judge. The other judge gets worried and gets panicked. So the other judge writes a letter saying it was a real close fight, but I scored it for Mahestre because I felt like the other guy was running and landing light punches, and Mahestre was landing the harder punches. Who got knocked down? Who got knocked down? Who was hurt? Who was hurt?
It was so bad. He put his head down when they announced the winner.
Mm-hmm. Because he knew.
That ain't what you do if you know you won the fight.
Mm-hmm.
He's over there like.
Until they said,
you're 100% correct. Everyone in the arena knew he lost the fight.
The fact that was him right there.
Huh? Yeah. Put his head down, then he's like, "Hey, you know."
So let's get to that. Let's get to that point right there. Mahestre got knocked down by Fox and outboxed by Fox. And the argument is, I thought that Mahestre was landing the harder punches. How?
Fox outgrown him and outlanded him.
So here's where you got to get at. And this is why I'm telling everyone who's running around calling Charlo versus what's the dude's name?
Castellano.
Charlo versus Castellano, a robbery. You're letting them dictate your point of view on something. And you're saying, oh, Castellano was landing a better work. How? Castellano was the one who almost got knocked out. Not Charlo. Castellano. I see what they're starting to do in boxing. What they're starting to do is they're starting to make a style, a boxing style, seem like it's running and penalize those that utilize that style. And I get running. We're going to talk about running in a second. And there are a lot of boxers that run, and I call it out when they run. But when you hurt your opponent and you're moving, when you drop your opponent and you're moving, that's not called running. That's called the sweet science. That's called hit and not getting hit. Because you're hurting them, so you're hitting them. You're not running. But what they're trying to do is create this new thing where slick boxers are penalized for being slick boxers. And who are the majority of the slick boxers? What they look like?
Brothers.
Mm-hmm. Not to say that Juan Manuel Marquez wasn't a good slick boxer. Not to say that my man Josh Taylor slick and smooth as it is. But the point is, most of the time, that style is adopted by the black fighters. And they're trying to find a way to penalize that style. So this guy's explanation is, oh, I thought he was running and landing the lighter punches, although he's the one who dropped Mahestre. So just want to point that out. Now, this guy, what was one of the other issues? So now you know that this woman made all these racial comments, and your suggestion is to condemn her. To condemn her. When someone does something that I am against, I don't condemn. I shut it down. I disassociate myself with that. If you make a comment that I don't agree with and I find offensive, I disassociate myself with that. I don't condemn you. So the fact that he's saying he condemns her calling Michelle Obama a monkey face and all her other racial comments, that he condemns it, but he doesn't disassociate it himself with it, it lets me know you're not really disgusted by it. And then you get in deep thought and you think you actually recommended this person with this thought against black people to judge a black fighter. Do you support that belief? Do you support her ideology? Do you support her views of black people? And it's for that reason I believe ABC needs to shut down the WBA, because I'm sure we don't want to have to start taking a deep dive through all the brothers who try to get that belt. I believe and I could be wrong, but Austin Trout had a lawsuit against these guys because the way they did him and did him wrong on his contender status. So, all I'm saying, I know Austin Trout has a lawsuit against one of the sanctioning bodies. I believe it may be the WBA. But the point I'm getting at is you can't just stop at Fox, really. Fox is the one where they got busted. How long have they been doing this? How long have they been putting the black fighters in a situation where they had to beat a planet judge? They had to beat someone who's one of the WBA's favorite fighters, someone the WBA was giving money to and guiding in the right direction. You got yourself a firestorm, an ish storm, where to me, the ABC is actually going to be complacent if they allow them to continue. So my suggestion is this: with what we know about the WBA and all the strikes against them, managing fighters, he admitted to giving fighters money. Where they do that at? How can you give a fighter money? How can you give a fighter money and guide them in the right direction and that not be you managing them? How? And how does that not give them the edge and the upper hand on the other fighters? And just so happens all the fighters you help are Latino. So for me, you got to get rid of the WBA now. So I'm suggesting you demote the WBA and you elevate the IBO. Mm-hmm. The IBO has been around. The IBO has been doing it. And you know what? When just like Championship League soccer, when one franchise isn't doing it, they demote they demote that franchise to. So I think it's time to demote the WBA and elevate the IBO. That's my suggestion to the.
Also, can I add too? Oh, and just point of clarification: Trout actually sued the WBO, not the WBA.
Okay, all right, yeah, I knew it was one of them. I wasn't sure, bro.
But the IBO, as much as people want to disrespect the IBO, is literally a system where it's computer generated that dictates the rankings. So just because a fighter is more popular than another doesn't guarantee them a title fight. Unlike all these other governing bodies, right? You have to work your way up in the IBO. That's the only governing body that actually is, from my perspective, truly fair. And that's why some fighters go for the IBO, because they know, like, hey, this is the fair way to dictate that I am the champion. It's just unfortunate that they're the youngest, but definitely I actually agree with that suggestion. Get rid of the WBA and promote the IBO.
Yeah, y'all know how I feel. Get rid of all of them. The only belt that matters is the WBB. You already. That's the only belt that matters is the WBB. You let us know how y'all feel in the comment section. Please like and subscribe, and check us out on Instagram and Twitter. And also check out our podcast on all major streaming services. WBB coming soon. We the Boxing Bros.
You're welcome. You're all welcome.